opposed to, you've talked about getting on a plane and going and settling in a hotel and whatnot?
Yeah, I think whatever the circumstances are, our guys have handled really seamlessly, Gary. If you said, is it more convenient to not have to do that? No question. Is it more convenient to be in our own facilities? It is. That being said, I would imagine that for us on Thursday, if the winds look like they are, then we will probably go to the Rose Bowl to practice, which will be great. So we'll be able to get our work in. So that is not in the least bit an inconvenience for us, but being able to get ahead so that we can get that work in, that's something that we'll probably do. Wednesday be a little bit more above the neck, and it seems like the winds are going to be in good shape on Friday here. So, feel fortunate. I don't know if you say more relaxed, more experience is always helpful. But I also think, one of the things that I told myself, the last time is you realize what a blessing it is to be in these positions. Make sure you enjoy it. You always talk about having joy in the journey, being appreciative of the opportunities that these players and coaches have earned and really our organization. And it's a great opportunity to really take it in, but also make sure that we've got laser focus on the task at hand. And I think our team has done a great job of being able to balance having the urgency, but being able to enjoy, coming to work every single day with an intentional focus and concentration about getting better and trying to go win a football game.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve?
Sure. Hey, Sean, just two quick parts. But first off, going to get back to Darrell Henderson. If he comes back, how do you fit him into your rotation with the way that Sony and Cam have really played so well as tandem?
That's a good question. I think, a lot of it is kind of, all right, what are the final ways that we want to be able to utilize different personnels and pairings? If you've got three backs that we know are all more than capable of contributing, want to make sure that we're utilizing them in the right ways, whether that be situationally or on some early downs. Thank you, Artis. We're kind of working through that right now, Steve. But those are good things for us. We've kind of talked about the initial parts of it, and then I think we'll have real good clarity, as we get into the latter part of the week.
Okay, and just a real quick follow-up, too. The safety tandem the Bengals have that are really good. I mean, you've seen good ones, especially like Arizona with guys like Buda Baker and guys like that. How do you put stress, which you guys do, stress those guys to maybe, get them a little bit out of their integrity and principles a little bit?
Well, there's different things that we try to do. I think what you respect so much about Vaughn and Bates is they do such a great job communicating. They see things as one. You can see their concept, trigger, and recognition is outstanding. They make plays on the ball. They're both great space tacklers. They can both be utilized if they want to send them forward, but you could just see the command, the communication, and really, those guys are instrumental to the communication. Hilton is another one. I've been really impressed with Awuzie and Eli Apple's playing good ball. I think just really as a whole, they all three levels of their defense does an outstanding job, but you can see so much of that communication comes from Von Bell and Bates, and I've been really impressed with their ability to play off of one another, but then also Coach Lou's job of being able to put them in spots that really accentuate their skill sets, and that's why they're in this game. It's going to be a great challenge, but like anything else, being able to kind of create that conflict and stay on schedule will be key for us to be efficient in this game offensively.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome, Steve.
Daniel?
Hi, Sean. This is Daniel Yafusi with the Miami Herald. I wanted to ask two questions on some coaches you have familiarity with. First is, what does Chris Shula bring to your coaching staff? And the second is, just what are your thoughts on Mike McDaniel getting the head coaching job in Miami and what he can bring to that organization?
Sure. So starting with Chris, Chris and I played college ball together, but we've known each other for a long time, but his passion for the game, his capacity, his ability to lead and communicate with players and help them reach their highest potential, he is a phenomenal coach. He truly sees the game through an all-22 perspective, knowing the defense but also the offensive side of the ball, how our team's trying to really attack the different coverage contours, front structures in the run game. And I've just been so grateful to be able to work side by side with Chris since we got here. I lean heavily on him. And he's a really great coach. He's been an instrumental part of our defensive success with Raheem Morris and so many other great coaches we have on the defensive side of the ball. I think with what we've seen from the inside linebackers is a great reflection of him and also those guys delivering, and certainly is in a long line of great Shula coaches, another one that we can add to the list. And really, it's a special family. As far as Mike McDaniel, really a lot of the same things. Great communicator, incredibly smart, very creative, innovative thought process, as it relates to really both the run game and the pass game. He gets a lot of credit for being involved in the run game, but when we work together in Washington, another guy that really sees the game through the totality of all 22. It's not just what are the offensive guys doing, but what are the roles, the responsibilities of defense. How can we try to utilize some of the things that they're being coached to do to take advantage of that and try to manipulate their rules and the things and some of their, put them in conflict with their eyes. And so Mike will do a great job. I think he'll surround himself with a great coaching staff, but I just think the world of Mike McDaniel, and selfishly, I'm not sad to see him leave our division either.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Michael?
Hi, Sean. I went back and looked at the tape of the Titans-Bengals game and then the Bengals-Chiefs game. The halftime adjustments that they made, whether it was Zach or Lou, defensively to, I guess, rush less, blitz less, put more guys in the secondary, let them kind of play more of a coverage, and then still get pressure with just a 3 or 4 man front. If you guys do get off to a big lead, knowing, I guess, what the Chiefs did late in the game there, not taking the 3 points and going for it, and how that switched the momentum and changed the momentum. If you're in a similar situation, what would you do? And how, if they do make adjustments that seem to be working in the second half, would you try to adjust back in the moment?
Yeah, well, in a lot of instances, Michael, I think, you saw a lot of similar principles. I think they executed a little bit better, and then there were certain things that elicited the responses that they had defensively with what Kansas City or Tennessee was presenting. And so, for us, it's making sure that, whatever we're doing, we're being efficient and we're playing clean ball. And if we are fortunate enough to get a lead, all right, well, how did we get there and how did we get to that point, and what's the best way to still stay smart but aggressive? We've talked about this with some of the different things and decisions that, I know I could have been better for our team in previous weeks, but each game is its own entity. I think you have to be in the moment. You have to, recognize what are the types of things that they're trying to do defensively to stop us. And making sure that we have some counters and answers. And I think, like you've heard me talk about, the really good offenses have the ability to do either or at a high level to keep the defense honest. And that's what we'll try to do. That's why they're in this game. They've done a great job against 2 really good football teams of being able to slow them down. And I think it's a real credit to Lou for being able to make some of those second half adjustments, but also the players' ability to be able to digest it, understand the intent of what they're trying to get done, and then go execute in the most critical situations, which they've done, and which was a big part of why they were able to win those 2 games.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Alanis?
Hi, Sean. Kevin Demoff sort of talked recently about how far a Super Bowl win for this franchise could go in cultivating and bolstering the fan base in the LA market. And for you as a coach, I'd imagine that's not something that you'd want to burden your players with thinking about, but have you heard them talking about that? Or, is that something that you think about and are cognizant of?
Well, I think, I would say this. I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to deliver, for our players to be able to deliver a championship, to this great city of LA. And being back here, this is my 5th year and the 6th year that the Rams are back here. I think it's amazing, the brand that's been built up because of the success that our players have had on the field, because of such a great owner like Mr. Kroenke. You look at the stadium and all the great things that come with it. What's motivating for me is certainly that's one of those things, but it's also, these players, these coaches wanting to see these guys, get a chance to go compete for a world championship, people that you care and you love so much. That's the purpose. And if those things come with it, that's great. But I think one of the things that's been great about this team, these guys play for one another. They play for one another, and that's a real strength of this team, and that's a powerful thing when it's trending in the right direction. When you have a lot of guys that are about the team, and they also want to play for each other, and that's what we're looking for. And I think that's a great representation of what you want, and what this city would want for the team that's representing them. And we'll see if we can make it come to life on Sunday at 3:30.
Brian?
Hey, Coach, congratulations on making it back to the Super Bowl. If you guys happen to win, you would surpass Mike Tomlin as the youngest coach to win a Super Bowl. What have your interactions been with him as during your time as a head coach? And what are some things from afar that you've seen that may have contributed to Coach Tomlin being able to sustain that level of success that he's had since winning his Super Bowl?
Yeah, Mike is one of the more impressive people I've ever met. He's been great to me. I couldn't be more grateful, really. I got a chance to get to know him a little bit a few years ago through Raheem Morris. You know, he and Raheem are really close. And then at different functions when you become a head coach and you have that interaction. But I think one of the things that's been great about Mike is he's so willing to share, really kind of put his arm around you and really help kind of, be a mentor and answer any questions that you have. But his leadership, his command, his mental toughness, how that really relates to the way that his teams play, the way they respond from the good and the bad. I think he's one of the best leaders that this sport has to offer, really sports in general. I'm so impressed. Anytime that you're in a room with Mike Tomlin, you always know that he is in that room. He's got such a great presence, but also a humility, and it's a fine line and how you balance that. And Mike is a great example for all leaders as far as how you are demanding but uplifting to your players, how you're so steady and so mentally tough in those moments when your team needs it the most. And that consistency that he's had throughout the course of his tenure there, and really even just going back to all the success he had prior to, whether it's in Minnesota or Tampa. This guy's a stud in every sense of the word, and very grateful, for the mentorship and the friendship that he's provided me since I've gotten to know him pretty well over the last few years.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome. Okay.
Hey, Coach.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Just
real quick. So it's not the normal media day we normally have. You guys were just here 3 years ago with all the hoopla and all this stuff. Is it weird to be kind of normal? I guess it's kind of a normal press setting for you as opposed to a guy in a turtle suit asking you questions like a few years ago. How different or normal does this feel as opposed to the grandee or the extravaganza of the normal Super Bowl opening night?
Yes, it's very different than that, like you talked about, Tim. The only difference from what feels like a normal Zoom is I can't see you guys, and I got a Gatorade backdrop right here. And so I'll take that. That was a pretty cool spectacle. But if you said, hey, we'll just walk down the hall and talk to you guys for a few minutes and then go back to game planning, that sounds like a plan to me.
Okay, so you're not mad at it then?
No, I'm not mad at it. This is if you said purely from a convenience perspective, this is definitely more convenient, more time efficient as it relates to just finally, kind of finalizing our game plan and all those things, where as soon as we finish this up, I'll walk down the hall, go back into my office, and get right back at it.
All right, good luck, Coach. Talk to you this week.
Nick.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Nick?
Good. Wanted to ask you really quickly, just with everything that's going on in Los Angeles, obviously there's a buzz about the Rams being in the city. What have the fans been like for you? Like, how many have fans been able to kind of reach out more so? Have you noticed? And what is that, just the whole atmosphere and the energy has been like for you going into this week as you guys prepare for the biggest game of the year?
It's been great, Nick. I would say this. During the season, I pretty much am working, and then I'm kind of at home, and so I'm not really getting out too much during the season. But, you could just feel the atmospheres, the environments. There is a buzz, even just around SoFi, when the games finish up, and, very grateful for that. I know our players are as well, and I think there's a lot of reasons for this city to be excited about this team. We've got great players. It's a fun brand of football that you're seeing them play. And then you got this iconic venue that we're able to play at. And oh, by the way, that's where the Super Bowl is, even though we're the away team. But it's been awesome, Nick. And, I think LA is a city of champions, a city of winners. They like winners. And that's something that I think our players embrace and love. And, obviously this city has so many great things to offer, but continuing to play at a consistent level and present this fan base with championship caliber play week in and week out is what our guys have delivered on, and got one more to try to finish the deal this week.
And as far as, we talk about players being hyped up on music, but what are you listening to that's kind of keeping you in the zone and, keeping you in that space?
Yeah, I got good music swag. I can be pretty flexible. But at my core, I'm an R&B guy. I grew up, my mom was listening to Luther Vandross and Bobby Brown and all that kind of stuff. And so, I can listen to, I can go whatever, but I like the stuff that our players are listening to. You know, the halftime crew's gonna, you know, a lot of music that I'm listening to, Drake, all those guys. But you know, if you said at the end of the day, what am I listening to the most? It's you know, put on the Spotify, give me the R&B.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Ariana.
Hey, Coach, this is Ariana from Telemundo. Can you talk about the union in the locker room? I mean, obviously, OBJ and Von Miller arriving mid-season, and we saw that heartfelt hug between Cup and Woods, and Matthew just being able to take the team all the way in his first year to the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's a huge part of your guys' success.
No question. I think that's as big a part of our success as anything is the camaraderie that exists in the locker room. Guys that care about one another, they play for one another. We've got great veteran leadership, which is why I think you see great players like Von Miller and Odell Beckham come in here. They've made key contributions, but they were welcomed with open arms, and they did a great job of being able to embrace the culture that was set here, kind of build on it, but then also the veteran leadership that's existed for a while. You know, Stafford's done a great job, but it's about these players at the end of the day. They're the ones that make it come to life, and I think you know, their care for one another is what's really been as big as anything to get us to this point, and you know, it's going to be what you know, helps us finish this off as well.
Thank you, Coach. See you Sunday.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Luciano.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time. This is Luciano Chaldén with Sonor's Latin American Network. What can you tell us about your relationship with Zach Taylor? How do you feel about the success he has had, and how does it feel to coach against him?
Number one, I have tremendous respect for Zach. He's a good friend. He was a big part of a lot of things that were good about the Rams the 2 years that he was here in 17 and 18. I learned so much from him. He's just got such a great way about himself, where high capacity for the game, amazing ability to be able to connect and communicate with the players. And you see that mental toughness that team plays with. And so I'm really happy for Zach. I'm not surprised. They've done a great job of being able to acquire players, whether it be through the draft or through free agency, and they're really building it in the image that they see as the best way to put together the team. And they've got key players that have been great in those crunch time moments, and that's why they're AFC champs. That's why they're getting ready to you know, play in the Super Bowl on Sunday, and I'm really happy for Zach. You know, we have a great relationship, and you know, looking forward to always rooting for him, except for when we go against one another. So I know we're both going to do everything we can to help our teams, but this is about the Rams versus the Bengals, and I know we're really excited to be a small part of it.
Mr. Cronin.
Hi, Sean. Greetings from Dublin, Ireland. Just a two-part question. One, given that first name, do you have any Irish heritage? And two, at the age of 36, you have a coaching tree that looks like an oak tree and might soon resemble a California redwood. Can you talk to us a little bit about like how that feels at your age to have so many coaches who worked under you go around the league?
Yes, I do have some Irish in me. My middle name is Patrick also. And so, you know, I would say this. It's I don't really look at it as a coaching tree as it is, you know, co-workers that I work together that have gone on to really establish themselves and be really successful. You know, we've poured into one another. I'm too young to be having a coaching tree. You know, these guys were big parts. They were great leaders for our football team. I think we both positively poured into one another, whether you're looking at Matt LaFleur, who's one of my closest friends, Zach Taylor, who's a good friend, Brandon Staley doing a great job. You know, became really good friends with him in the 1 year we worked together, and then Kevin O'Connell will go on to be a head coach. Other guys have gone on to be to be coordinators. Jed Fish is the head coach at Arizona. But when I mention all those names, all those guys were people that I learned from as well. You know, I just happened to be in the head coaching role, but these guys were instrumental parts of our success with the Rams. They've gone on to do great things, and it's really great. You know, but they're co-workers. We've worked together, positively poured into one another. I'm too young to be having a coaching tree.
Thanks, Sean. Good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
OC.
Coach, what's going on? OC Manure here. How are you?
Hey, OC, how you doing?
Man, I can't complain, man. Hey, you just said how you were too young to have a coaching tree, and I find that fascinating because I remember my first time meeting you. You were in high school at the time, one of the best players, actually the best player in Georgia. And so to see your progression from us training down at Tony's to you being the best or one of the best head coaches in the NFL. Having a coaching tree has been magnificent for me, man. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like, it's all about being surrounded by good people. You all of a sudden become a better coach when you coach players like you or the Aaron Donalds, OC. And, if there is one thing I've learned from growing up in this business with my grandfather's success with the 49ers, he was also the head coach of the Giants before he went there. It's always about surrounding yourself with people that are better than you and making sure, hey, you're a better coach when you have great players. And fortunately, we've had great coaching staffs here, people that, we positively push one another to really always be able to kind of press the standards of how we're operating schematically, how are we putting our players in the right positions, always challenging ourselves to have a why for why we're doing things, and then ultimately, giving the players some autonomy and some ownership. I think that's one of the strengths of what we've got going, OC, is there's a shared ownership. I've always seen where sometimes it's like coaches and players are separate entities. We try to be as connected with our guys as anything, and we've got the right kind of guys that see the game through the right lens, that deserve that respect and ownership, when they want to be able to speak up. And I think that's what's been good about, a lot of the things that we've done well here. And ultimately, the players are the ones that make it come to life. But those other coaches, I'm just grateful because I've learned from them. And, the reason that we've been successful is because of their presence here.
Absolutely. Last question for you, because I'm really fascinated about this coaching matchup, right? Because you and Zach Taylor know each other very, very well, like you're good friends. Do you prepare differently whenever you're whenever you're going up against somebody who you know really well, as opposed to just looking at, film, studying statistics and being like, okay, we're going to do this because of this tendency? But when you know somebody personally, is it different?
It's a good question, OC. You want to be cognizant of the things that that he's aware of and vice versa. But there has been enough time, and as the league, the landscape of the league and things evolve schematically and personnel-wise so much, especially since we've played them in 19, even from what we were doing when we were working together in 18. We've got a totally different roster. There's still a couple foundational pieces that are still there, but even what we're doing schematically is different. And you can see Zach's done a great job of evolving his scheme to fit Burrow's skill set, to be able to accentuate Chase and Higgins and Boyd and maximize Mixon. And so all those things you're aware of, kind of the core philosophies, but there's been a lot of change that's taken place since we've been together. But you do want to be aware of it, but you don't want to chase ghosts either. And so it's a fine line. And nowadays, it seems like you're coaching against somebody that you know pretty intimately week in and week out. And that's a blessing. And what you realize is what a small circle of people it is to be fortunate enough to be coaching in this league.
Fantastic, man. Great seeing you, Sean. Hey, have a good one out there. Go out there and do your thing.
Thanks, OC. I appreciate it.
Susie?
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
I'm with you on the.
Susie, I couldn't. You kind of cut off. I'm like, I recognize that voice. I can't see you, but I
know. Well,
Susie?
And that's why, kind of like you, the convenience of this. I'm kind of happy in my kitchen in my pajamas.
Nice.
This is okay. Coming off the Pro Bowl, it's good. So you've touched on this a bit. We talked about this when you joined us on this set 2 years ago, and the tinkering and the finding the right balance. And so you've touched on the Bengals and their defense and ability to morph and adjust. So like digging in on that, how have you kind of tried to find the right way of balancing just enough, too much, be ready for anything, not going overboard? How are you doing that?
Yeah, I think, that's kind of been a lot of what this year has reflected, Susie. As much fun as that was, spending some time with you on the set a couple years ago, I'll take this one all day. And so it's one of those deals. It's a balancing act, and I think you want to kind of just solve some of the problems beforehand, okay? Making sure that we have answers and some all-purpose things that we can present based on whatever, they want to kind of try to activate towards us. And I think even going back to that 18 game or looking over the last couple years, our guys have done a great job of evolving and morphing to where you do have a little bit more that you can present based on, what the defense decides they want to try to commit to or what they want to stop and how they want to really activate the 11 players on their side of the ball. And Lou does an excellent job with that. But I also think, the way Matthew sees the game, the way that, our guys have an understanding of the intent behind what we're trying to get done, whether it be running the football or throwing it. I do have a lot of confidence in our guys, and so it is very similar to kind of what we've tried to do the majority of the year, because defenses now are so complex that there's a lot of different things that they can present, and if you do have some success, usually the things you're seeing on film might be a little bit different. than what ends up showing up in the game if they think they've got to activate something different to slow you down.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Susie.
Mike Jones.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Mike?
Good. The last Super Bowl, what did you use to get over that? How did you get through it? And what did you take away? What were some of those most important lessons that you took away that made you better as a coach, even heading into this situation now?
Yeah, I think what you do to get over it is you look at yourself in the mirror, you take accountability, and then you keep it moving. I think as a competitor, you have to be able to handle those tough moments, and I'll never run away from the fact that I didn't do a good enough job for our team, within what I feel like, my role and responsibility is to these guys. I think you say, okay, if you had it differently, what are the things that you learn as far as the decision making, the adjustability, the ability to be totally in the moment during the game and be able to make those adjustments quicker than what we were able to do, and how you approach the 2 weeks of preparation. But whether it was a game like that or whether it was a game from a couple weeks ago, you're always trying to learn, you're always trying to evolve. And I think you want to be able to learn from previous experiences, but not allow it to inhibit your ability to be able to move forward. Where do you really have that security, that foundational confidence? Where does that lie? And I think it's in the preparation, the people that you're around, and your ability to be able to move forward from good and from the bad. And so, you get over it. I think it was a blessing to be in that game. Certainly, you don't forget about it. You wanted to be able to do better, but I don't think you press, when you do get another opportunity to be in this moment, in this stage again. I think you look at it as a blessing. You take some of those learning lessons, you apply them, and let's go cut it loose and play to the best of our ability, and I'll coach to the best of my ability with our coaches as well.
And you always hope, okay, if I get another shot, I do X, Y, Z, but being here only a short time later, what does that mean to you that you do get another shot just in, a matter of years?
We're very grateful for it. I think what you do realize as you accumulate experience is how difficult it is to be in these situations. And our players did a great job of being able to deliver. I'm surrounded by a great coaching staff that I feel really fortunate and blessed to be around. And so you don't take these opportunities lightly, but I think it's a fine line between, when you want something too bad, making sure that you don't press it all. And hey, it's the cliche, Mike, but it's the truth, man. Let's be in the moment. Let's prepare to the best of our ability. Let's use all these experiences to apply the right types of preparation and processes and procedures as it leads into Sunday. And then once the game is kicked off, let's be in the moment. Let's enjoy it, and let's take it one play at a time, and we'll see what happens.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Jason.
Sean, along those lines of you guys have the great Super Bowl season in 2018. What were the 2 seasons like after that for you? And what was the process of evaluating that this just isn't good enough? We need to make more moves.
Yeah, I think I think when you look at just really the trajectory of the 5 years that have been here, I think every single year, every game provides a learning opportunity. You come in, our guys did a great job of delivering, winning the division the first year, and then we lose in the wild card to Atlanta. Then the next year, you make some acquisitions that were really key and critical to our success. Guys come out of the gate. You do a great job of winning a handful of games early on. You lose to New Orleans, you end up bouncing back, and then we had a 2-game skid. But you find a way to get the 2 seed, to get the bye, and then you beat Dallas, and you have a tough, hard-earned win at New Orleans in the NFC Championship, and then you lose the Super Bowl in a situation that I take a lot of responsibility for us not getting that done. And so then the expectations are, all right, well, you'll be right back there. I can remember the amount of people that said after the game, oh, you guys will be back. And, I've grown up in this business long enough and have an appreciation for how difficult it is to even get yourself in the playoffs, let alone just win a game, to know that it wasn't quite that seamless. And then that next year, you go 9-7. You end up just missing the playoffs. That was a really humbling, hard year, I think, but it was a great year for growth, for appreciation, for how hard it really is to do the things that our players and coaches had done for the previous couple years. You hit the reset button. The COVID year was such a different thing, but we were able to, get into the playoffs, win a playoff game, then you lose a tough one against the Packers. And then this year, there's been a lot of highs. There's been a couple lows that I think you appreciate as much as anything because of the ways that our players navigated through a really tough month in November, when we had some tough stretches and guys delivered in a big way in December and January, ended up winning the division. And then here we are, on the verge of competing for a Super Bowl. So all those things have been learning opportunities. It's been a really great experience, and I've loved every second of it. And I think more than anything, I've really enjoyed being in the moment, and I've loved this team, and I've really appreciated them as much as any group I've ever been a part of.
Nikki?
Hi, Sean. What have you seen under Ejiro over the years as a coach? And when you guys first interviewed him, do you remember what kind of stood out to you about him at that time?
Yeah, so I've known Ejiro for a long time. My first coaching job with the Buccaneers, when I was basically like I was an offensive assistant, but I was the assistant to the quality control coach. He was on that defensive staff, and he and I hit it off. And he was really smart. Had a great way about himself. He had played safety. You could see he was a tough competitor, but he had a great capacity for the game. Really understood it. And had great ownership for the back end. And he and I got to be really good friends, and then he just got better and better with his craft. We only spent that 1 year together, but we had stayed in great touch. And then when he was at Green Bay at the time, I knew that, I wanted to get a chance to work with him, and I thought he was ready to really take that next step of being a position coach. And watching his presence in front of the group, watching his communication, his capacity for the game, not only defensively but offensively, how demanding he is of his players in the right way. It's demanding, it's never demeaning, how he gets the best out of those guys. Just watching, he is more than ready to do an excellent job as a defensive coordinator. Whether it's official or not, the Broncos are getting a good one. And, I'm sad that we're, losing a great coach, but I'm really happy for E. And, I think Nate Hackett is going to do a great job leading the way in Denver as well.
Neil?
Hey, Coach. Neil Reynolds from Sky Sports in the UK.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Very good. I wonder if you could shine a light on we hear all this talk about, the Rams are loading up with superstars, and it's a team loaded with stars. And some coaches might see that as a headache. Some might embrace it. I wonder if you could shine a light on what those big name players that we look at are really like in the locker room, on the practice field, on game day.
Yeah, so I think the consistent thing, Neil, with all those guys, they love football. They're extremely intelligent players, and they want to win. And that's the most important thing. And I think as long as there's a shared ownership, you provide a why, whether it's the Jalen's, the Aaron Donalds, you add Von Miller and Odell Beckham, you trade for a Matthew Stafford. You've already got guys like Andrew Whitworth and Cooper Kupp in place. That has been a huge part of why this team's been special, is that, yes, you have a lot of guys that have established themselves as big-time players in this league, but one of the things that's common about all those guys, they're great competitors, that they want to win a championship. We always talk about we, not me, Neil, and I think these guys understand that, hey, it is about the we. It's about the we, but, they know that their me part plays a big role in us reaching our highest potential. But they are all about the right stuff. I love these guys. I love this team. And I think it's a real credit to veteran leadership in our locker room to be able to embrace these guys, for them to fit in so seamlessly. But also it's a real credit to those players. But they're all great competitors, great players, and they want to win. And we're all pushing in the same direction, pulling that rope in the same direction. And I think that's key and critical to any team that's trying to chase a championship, Neil.
Good luck on Sunday, Coach. And we've got your old guy, Kirk Cousins, is joining us on Sky Sports on Sunday.
Is that right? That's awesome. Well, tell him I said hello.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.